Hey listeners of Curse, I'm coming here with a second tutorial video on how I made some of the sounds in my Madeon Style FLP that I'm sure a lot of you will probably know me from because that is my most popular video. Uh, now, a lot, a lot of the sounds are layered, and I think a good way to demonstrate this is to show you the first pattern. The first pattern is purely saw waves, like nothing else. Yeah, okay. So they're mostly saw waves. I'm just gonna break it down. So what we got here is we've got a sub bass, nice and simple sub bass. And you can look at how to make that here. I have addictive one, set spectrum, wavetable there, all that. Just look at all this. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's pretty simple. A little bit of phase on the first oscillator and ring modulation on the first oscillator. And then notice it's turned off. This is because I thought it just interfered too much with the main mix of the sub bass. And it maybe came out a bit too high in some spaces, and it's quite a nice little sound in here, the way it's set. Ignore the macro controls. I did nothing with the macros. Um, there's a bit of delay, but there's really nothing to it. Yeah, DAF filter in the voicing tab, Unison 2, a little bit of pitch offset. There is, yes. Yeah, envelope 1. It's sort of like a pluck type thing. And there's a parabolic shaper down here and a high metallic on the noise. Quite a bit of color, a little bit of amp. Okay, so that's your sub bass. And you'll also notice that it is panning. A minute. Yeah, it's panning to the right ever so slightly. Um, and it's got loads of different sounds on it. This is to make sure the high wasn't interfering. Otherwise, it, interf it interferes with the mix. And there's also a stereo enhancer there to try and widen the sound. Free filter at the beginning. Parametric EQs for that extra cutting, and limiter so that it doesn't clip, because with my sub basses, what I have a tendency to do is I have a tendency to maybe push them so hard that they're distorting slightly, so I kind of want to put a clipper on it to make sure it wouldn't go too far over. Here is a saw bass, quite low. This is a stupidly simple sound. This is literally a saw wave, sawtooth wave, one voice, octave down, all your settings there. Same again, slightly changed, a bit more detune. Part B is a square wave. Oh, sorry, no, this doesn't matter down here actually. I must have turned that off halfway through the job. There's a filter on there. Keeps a nice monotone. Don't want to have those high frequencies interfering. The next one is the the mid-range actually, the midway range of the saw. And it's got a nice bit of reverb and companion tube. This is a preset. It's called Scary Monsters Melody. So this is what it looks like. It's incredibly simple. Very simple. It's a square wave one, scream, Q, so there's a bit of reverb to give you that nice, a little decreased time. It's pretty much the same story again over here. Sorry, that one's got flanger on it. It's basically the same. It's got a bit of flanger on it. It's a super saw essentially. Yeah, it's got that flanger on there because Madeon likes to have a little bit of flange in his sounds. And this is the 8-bit section that Madeon is probably known for quite a bit. So, to break down this main synth, we have the sub bass, we have the lowrider bass. Nope. It's like a saw bass. You can make it with 3XOSC, you can make it with massive, silent 1. I preferred silent 1 with this one because I know that Madeon and a lot of other electro house producers like to use silence 1. I tried to stay true to that nature, but however, with some sounds, I believe that massive packs a bit more of a punch. You got your mid saw, you've got your flanged saw, and you've got your gamer 8-bit saw. put them all together and you get... Now, this is just a backing saw. You don't want this to become like overriding it. So what we have over here on pattern 2 is a melody on top. This is probably going to sound super flange, so I'm just going to take off everything that might get in the way. As you can see, it's a very simple project, not a lot of files. Now, do you hear how it starts off quite nice? And then it sort of has this vibrato on it. I have vibrato set to a clip somewhere. I want to say it's one of the ones down here. Yeah, vibrato down. Because I know that Madeon's got a nice bit of vibrato in some of his sounds. Now, I was fighting with this one because my inner demon was saying, add loads of that because it'll sound incredible. And to be honest, it didn't. I had to reduce it a hell of a lot to try and get it to where I was happy with. And even now, I don't think I'm happy with it. But it doesn't really matter too much. It's out there, it's popular, I'm fine. So breakdown of the sound. It's very simple, monotonous finale synth actually. It's copied straight from his song finale. It's basically that synth. Even though that was created with a voice, you can create this with massive square root of 2, square root of 2, square root of 1, all this. It's a nice little monotonous synth. Oh, have I gone and disabled it? Yeah. I think it's panned slightly to the right again. Yep. I call it peaking bass for some strange reason. Again, with limiter on it because I don't want it to clip too much. Nice little cutting, cut down the bass so nothing's overriding, and give it some extra high boost because it's quite nice in the high register. So it complements this sound, which is quite a retro sound actually. This one I don't think he uses so much. It's got a nice tack on it actually. Envelope 1, yeah. It's quite nice to listen to because it sort of gives you more leeway into the track. It's essentially this exact same sound, only with some filter on it in chorus. And this has got a hell load of chorus, and I believe, yeah, it's also got 2 unisono on to give it some nice thickness, and again with some attack on there, so you have them both together. And just here. So we have this sound which is already in there, and then the attack just sort of brings it up to its full power, as well with the vibrato, to give it a very Madeon stylistic sound. And then if you were to combine the two of these sounds together, you would have a monstrosity like this. And basically, the trick is that Madeon has his saws in the background, and a lot of them are filtered so that you can't really hear the high end. It's mostly mid end, and then he just smacks his lead synth on top, and maybe puts a sub bass or a saw bass in the back. I made this about 6 months back, 5-6 months back, and I've learned a hell of a lot more now. This is fantastic for what it's done. But I think I could do better now. Let me see, how long did I spend? I spent a minute apparently. Yeah, I think it was something near 10 to 11 hours, and I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I'm glad you guys have been able to stick around. This is basically the tutorial of how I made my Madeon styling song. So just remember, it's the saws kind of backgrounded and a lead synth on top to give it that nice kick. It's got a real nice punch to it, okay? Alright, well thanks for watching guys, and stay tuned for another curse video. I might be releasing some new stuff very soon. If you follow me on Facebook, which will now be in the description, seeing as annotations don't really seem to work for me, then I'm sure you'll be interested to find out what my daily hijinks are because I post up literally everything first on my Facebook. Apart from that, see you later, guys.